You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow, and tomorrow comes, and something inside you quietly pulls you away. Not loudly, not dramatically, just enough to delay it again. You scroll, you reorganize something unimportant, you suddenly feel tired. And the strange part is, you don't even know what you're avoiding. But your brain does, and it's been protecting you from it this whole time. Visual, person sitting with phone, slowly drifting into scrolling too. Problem deep dive, it doesn't feel like laziness, because when something urgent happens, you can act fast. When there's pressure, a deadline, someone watching, you become focused, almost sharp. But when it's just you, alone with your own goals, something changes. Your energy drops, your mind gets foggy, even simple tasks feel heavy. Visual, empty room with sunlight, person staring at laptop. You start thinking, why can't I just do it? What's wrong with me? Other people don't struggle like this. And slowly, this turns into identity. You stop saying, I'm avoiding something. You start saying, I'm just lazy. That label sticks. It seeps into how you see your future. You hesitate more, trust yourself less, start fewer things, and the cycle deepens. But here's what's really happening beneath the surface. This isn't about discipline, it's about emotion. A very specific one. And your brain has learned to avoid it at all costs. Visual, slow-moving waves, calm but heavy atmosphere. 3. Reframe: you're not broken, you're not weak, and you're definitely not lazy in the way you think. Because your brain isn't designed to chase goals, it's designed to avoid pain. Always has been. From a behavioral psychology perspective, what looks like laziness is often just avoidance behavior. A learned response. Something your brain picked up over time because it worked at some point in your life. Doing something led to discomfort, maybe subtle, maybe intense, and your brain made a simple association. This action equals emotional pain. So now it quietly redirects you away from it. Not because you're incapable, but because you've been trained to protect yourself. Visual, abstract brain animation, soft glowing connections forming. But protect yourself from what exactly? That's the part most people never fully see. 4. Psychological mechanism. Let's slow this down, because this is where everything starts to make sense. Your brain runs on prediction. It constantly scans your past experiences to guess what might happen next. And when it detects a potential emotional threat, it activates avoidance. This process involves areas like the amygdala, which is responsible for detecting emotional danger, and the prefrontal cortex, which tries to plan and act. But when the amygdala signals this might hurt, it often overrides action, even if the danger isn't physical. Visual, simple brain diagram lighting up different areas. Now here's the key insight. The emotion you're avoiding is usually not obvious. It's not something like fear in a dramatic sense. It's quieter, more internal. Common ones include shame, what if I'm not good enough? Failure, what if I try and prove I can't do this? Judgment, what will people think if I fail? Uncertainty, what if I don't know what I'm doing? These emotions are deeply tied to identity, not just what you do, but who you believe you are. So your brain creates a shortcut. If we don't start, we don't feel that. Visual, person standing at edge of a path, hesitating. Think of it like this. Your mind is a security system, but instead of protecting your body, it's protecting your identity. And the moment a task threatens how you see yourself, the system quietly shuts it down, not with alarms, but with distraction, fatigue, and delay. That's why it feels so confusing. Because it doesn't feel like fear. It feels like, I just don't feel like it. But underneath that, there's always something specific, something your brain is trying not to feel. And until you see it, the pattern repeats. 5. Practical framework. So how do you work with this? Not by forcing discipline, but by understanding the emotion your brain is avoiding and changing your relationship with it. Here's a simple framework. Step 1. Name the emotion. What to do. Pause when you feel resistance and ask, what emotion might this task bring up? Be specific, not, I feel bad, but this might make me feel judged, or this might make me feel like I'm not good enough. Why it works? Labeling emotions activates the prefrontal cortex, which reduces the intensity of the amygdala response. This is called affect labeling in neuroscience. It turns a vague threat into something manageable. Example, you sit down to start a video or project. Instead of forcing yourself, you pause and realize, if I do this, I might feel exposed. That awareness alone changes everything. Visual, notebook with one sentence written, I'm avoiding feeling exposed. Step 2. Shrink the threat, what to do. Make the task smaller than the emotion. Don't aim to finish, just aim to begin without triggering the full emotional weight. Why it works? Your brain doesn't avoid tasks. It avoids emotional intensity. By reducing the scale, you reduce the perceived threat. This lowers resistance. Example, instead of finish the whole project, you open the file. Write one line and stop. That's it. You're teaching your brain this action is safe. Step 3. Separate identity from action. What to do. Remind yourself, this task does not define me. You're not proving your worth, you're just performing an action. Why it works? When identity is attached to outcomes, the emotional stakes increase. This triggers avoidance. Separating identity reduces that pressure. Example, instead of thinking, if this fails, I'm not capable, you shift to, this is just one attempt. That small shift reduces fear of failure. Visual, person walking calmly, no pressure, open space. Step 4. Allow the emotion, don't escape it. What to do? When the uncomfortable feeling shows up, don't run from it. Sit with it for a few seconds. Observe it, let it exist without reacting. Why it works? Avoidance strengthens emotional sensitivity. Exposure reduces it. This is based on exposure theory in psychology. The more you allow the emotion, the less control it has over you. Example, you feel that wave of discomfort starting. Instead of opening your phone, you stay, you breathe, you notice it rise and slowly fall. Now your brain learns, this feeling is not dangerous. Visual, slow waves moving, rising and falling. Step 5. Build emotional tolerance, not discipline, what to do. Focus less on forcing action and more on increasing your ability to sit with discomfort. Why it works? Long-term change comes from emotional regulation, not willpower. The stronger your tolerance, the less your brain needs to protect you. Example, each time you resist escaping discomfort, you're not just being productive, you're rewiring your brain's response. That's where real change happens. 6. Integration. So here's the simple way to see it. You're not avoiding the work, you're avoiding the feeling attached to the work. The task is just the trigger. The emotion is the real barrier. Visual, 2 layers, surface, task, deeper layer, emotion. And once you understand that, everything becomes clearer. Because now, instead of fighting yourself, you start understanding yourself. Your brain isn't the enemy, it's just doing its job a little too well, protecting you from something you're actually capable of handling. 7. Quiet, empowering close. So the next time you feel that resistance, that quiet pull away from something you know matters, don't call yourself lazy. Pause, look deeper, ask yourself, what am I trying not to feel right now? Because the answer to that question might change how you see everything. And maybe you were never stuck. You were just protecting something. A visual, person standing still, soft light, calm expression. And now that you're finally starting to understand what that is,